I'll probably, but
All right, we'll keep it wide angled. Try to stay.
Hey, what's that language?
Okay.
I'm gonna sit right here. Can everybody see me? Offset a little bit so I can see you, please.
If you need to move those chairs or any of these desks or anything out of your way, we can go and get those moved.
No, I just need to see your pretty faces. Would you move over a little bit?
He wants to be able to see all the faces, is all.
I wanna make sure you're not asleep. How about that?
If any of them are asleep, we'll put them in the front lane and rest.
Oh, hey, when I came in, I said, go up and give me 10. That's 10 push-ups. So if you mess up, you're gonna be up here doing push-ups.
Now, he talked about that. We had a guy here, he was 96 years of age, and we had him here about 3 years ago. His name was Schwenker, and he could still do 100 push-ups on bricks. And I told it to the students, and they said, no, he's lying, but he won at age 96. I can't do 5. Okay, this is Don Ballard. He's been in town now for, this is his 3rd day, and we're putting him through the ringer. You are a very special crowd to get here, a Medal of Honor recipient. There's very few left in the world today. He's one of them. He'll talk about his experiences. Ed Brundick, he's a Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, retired. Is that correct?
Well,
Medical Corps.
yeah, actually, I got kicked out, but
Okay,
You know what?
he said retired. I'm not really retired. I just got out prematurely.
So I stayed in 24 years. No, but you can get out on your own. So you got out on your own.
Yeah.
But he's a doctor, you know, so different people, different strokes for different folks, right?
And so he's going to introduce Don. I have to leave. I got a meeting. And we've got memorabilia. Mr. Kellogg, they brought books and they brought other things that if you are interested, we can show those things to you at the next meeting, or we're going to go to the whole school pretty soon.
Right, right.
Now, I was in one war. I was in the Persian Gulf War. And I was on a ship. And I had all the Marines with me, okay? And we had a missile go over our head. And at that point, we had general quarters. It scared the heck out of me. We all went to general quarters. At that time, I had 2 young kids at home, and I really didn't know if I was coming back. Even though we outnumbered them and outmanned them 100 to 1 in the Persian Gulf War, you still don't know when you're there. And this guy will talk about his experience, and he was there. Not me, he was there. And so Ed's gonna talk and introduce him. I'm walking out of here and keeping ROTC. I wish I'd have done it. I'd have got a lot better if I would have done it, okay? This is a great program. It's the only one in Evansville. I have a handout here. We have the Revolutionary War people going to be at our museum on April 18th. They will be in uniform and tell you how their uniform evolved, how their gun evolved.
Wow.
And they'll have a big educational series. So I'm going to leave this with your professor here, and I'm going to leave these with Ed to tell the next class.
I wish you could stay, Doc, because I might need help, you know.
You don't need any help. You don't need help. Okay, you be good here, Don. Okay.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Ed Brundick, and my idea on being a success in life, it's a matter of making the right decision several times. You've already made a right decision. You're in ROTC. Good decision. When I interviewed people for a job, if they'd been in ROTC, it equaled being like an Eagle Scout or more, and that is, I knew that person probably had some substance. So congratulations for making a wise decision. Today we have a true American hero with us. In 1968, Colonel Ballard was a corpsman in the jungles of Vietnam. A corpsman is a doctor, a nurse, and sometimes a chaplain, all rolled into one person. He was given the huge responsibility of keeping any injured Marines in his unit alive. An awesome, awful, impossible job. He took his job and responsibilities very seriously. When the enemy, the Viet Cong, threw a hand grenade, and I know you all know what that is, into the middle of his Marine unit, everyone was about to die. Colonel Ballard, our guest, threw himself on the grenade, knowing full well he would die, but perhaps his Marines he was responsible for and whom he loved would live. Miraculously, he survived, or he wouldn't be here today. For that extraordinary act of bravery, he was awarded the nation's highest military medal, the Medal of Honor, which started in the Civil War, about 1861. He was awarded that for valor during the time of war. You can only win this medal during a time of conflict and war. You can't win this during peace. Medal of Honor recipients are rare. Colonel Ballard may very well be the only one we will meet in our lifetime. He's the only one I've met in my lifetime. So, thank you for coming, Colonel Ballard.
Hoorah, thanks for that kind introduction. Okay, I live in Kansas City, you know, that's 8-10 hours from here, right? So why am I here today? What are you gonna do for me? How am I gonna help you? What's my purpose? You got me going?
Yeah.
Okay. The whole issue is as the doc said, I love you. Military people are taught one thing, and that's how to be a team player. There's no I's, there's no individuals. When you spell team, there's no I in that sentence, you know? So, or that word, I should say. The whole issue is, what can you do for other people? Now, I'll spin this around and then I'll answer any questions you got. But there's been over 48 million men and women that's been in our military uniform. There's only been 3,505 of these ever issued, and there's only 65 of us alive today, and I'm one of them. Most of us are the younger. Well, right now Vietnam seems to be the average age, because we've outlived the other people. When I first got in, there was 400 Medal of Honor recipients, and most of them were from the Second World War. The oldest guy I met at that time in 1970 was this 100-year-old guy. He fought in the Boxer Rebellion. Now, I don't know if you studied your history, but that was a really old time, you know. I mean, that was several wars ago. Chinese, when we were fighting the Chinese the first time. So the military has a different mindset of how to approach the problem. And what I'm going to share with you today is that you have a choice in life. Your whole life is based on choice. When you leave this room, you have an idea where you want to go, so you know to turn left or right. That's a choice. You're sitting here listening to me, you're paying attention. That's a choice. As the doctor said, you have set your sight on being more involved in the community, more educated, more proficient in what you do, because you have taken on another step with this ROTC. How come all the students aren't in here? Well, you've set yourself to be a little bit higher than them. And as he said, there's all kinds of challenges that we face in life. Eagle Scouts, if you can become a scout, a Boy Scout or Girl Scout, and then get the accolades and the awards that they offer. There's different levels of life that we can challenge ourselves to improve our quality of life, to improve our ability to do things. So I think my point to you would be to remember that you have choices, but you have to understand what those choices are, the good, the bad, the ugly parts of those, and what you can benefit by making the correct choice. It is what it is. I mean, we don't know. When I was your age, I walked to school. I don't know if you guys do that anymore or not, but I lived close enough that we walked to school. And I had different businesses along the road that I walked. And on the way home, I would stop and ask one of the businesses that would hire me. Well, no one's gonna hire me at that age because we're too young, we're too dumb, and we don't know what we're doing, right? That was the attitude that they shared with us. So but I had a need to know what the job was all about. I wanted to know what I was gonna do when I got out of school. Where am I gonna go? What am I gonna do? So I would take on different jobs, volunteer, not with pay. One of them was I was a fry cook at a hamburger joint. Well, that lasted about a day, and I didn't get paid. I did get a hamburger and french fries, but I burnt the shit out of my hand on with the grease. And I said, that's not what I want to do the rest of my life, right? So I said, I can eliminate that off the checklist. Next week, I went to work for a tire company, a company that sold tires, changed tires in a car, you know? Oh, that don't sound too bad. That's a hell of a lot of work. I smashed my fingers. I got greasy. No, I made a decision right there that that's not what I want to grow up to be, you know? So each time that you evaluate and test your ability to do things, you learn something, right? That's what you're in school for now. We don't, as a society, we don't want you out there without advice and without advisors, see? You're listening to me because I'm 80 years old. I've been in your seat. I've been at the instructor, teacher's seats. So why am I here? Back to my original question. I want to share with you that you should listen to us old guys and gals. The older people have experience that you don't have. So if you're gonna do something when you wanna learn from somebody that's already done it, you know, that makes sense. Listen to them. You know, if you see something good, bad, and ugly, share that with people. If it's bad, then tell the adult. You know, tell the instructors. You know, like somebody doing drugs. The drugs are here, but you don't have to ignore that because it will kill you. You know, you're gonna mess up your mind. Don't do drugs. The life is challenging enough, and you get some kind of chemical stuff going on in your brain, you're not gonna live. You'll suffer. So if you see somebody doing drugs, it's to the school's benefit, it's to society and to the kids to report that. You know, if you see it, report it, tell it. You can do it anonymously so you don't get fingered. Oh, that guy told on me, you know. You don't have to do that. Be smart about it. But you're helping other people. I risked my life to help other people live. Why? I loved them. This stands for love. Let me take this off. This medal was given to me by President Nixon in the White House. And I interpret it as a representation or symbolism of love. The Marines that we were out, you can see us out in the field in the jungle, miles and miles, thousands of miles away from home. We had no friends. All we had was enemy, but all we had was each other. The guy on the right, the guy on the left, we all took care of each other because we all wanted to get home. I had a wife and 2 kids while I was there. Hey, think about that. I was a dad, but I wanted to get home. I was older than the rest of the people that I was serving with. They were all 19 years old, and I was 22. I mean, they called me the old man at 22, but I was the only one old enough to buy the beer, you know? So we didn't get any beer, but I was just saying I was the oldest one. So again, back to choices. You want experiences to better increase your knowledge about different things. The Google now, we didn't have Google, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have anything that you've got today. If we had, we might have been smarter. I don't think we were smart. I think we learned to do what we wanted to do. The doctor went to school because he had a mission. He wanted to be a doctor. And he went to college and got all his buttons pushed and accolades accomplished and, you know, all the certificates that he needed. Not all of us are going to be doctors. Not all of us are going to be construction people. So what we hope you will learn from what we're doing is, one, you're in an ROTC for what reason? Ask yourself, why am I belonging to a military type organization? Because you have an interest. And until you decide whether it's a good or a bad experience, get the most education you can on the school's dime. You know, you're not paying anything to be here. You're getting out of some other class. So take advantage of the school and the taxes that I pay and all the people who live around here. We pay taxes so you can learn. Don't let us down. Become a good model citizen. Learn to do the right thing. Learn to make good money. Learn to take care of yourself. Learn to grow up and have your own families. Then you have the problem of teaching your kids, which is a good problem, you know. So my whole concept is, I have a lot of pieces of paper on the wall that says diplomas. Because I was raised with the idea, and when I was taught that you're not gonna ever be anything if you don't get a college degree. Okay, 60%, I just read this, 60% of the people that go to college and get a certificate or get a diploma are working at menial jobs like McDonald's and Wendy's and dollar store clerks. They got a degree. Why did you waste all that time, all that money, and not know where you were going? That's like walking out this door, not knowing if you're gonna go left or right, you know? So the smarter you are, and I'm talking about general common sense, you'll make better decisions. Everybody agree with that? I mean, you know, you can put a blindfold on and walk and hit yourself in the head over here or something, walk out the door and bang into the wall. So you have to keep your eyes open, and you have to have a little better knowledge of where you want to go. The sooner you learn the skill that you want to do in life, the better you'll become. You'll have more experience, easier life. You know, like I went to work for the contractors. I did roofing. I learned I didn't want to do that, you know. So you learn, you take experience, and you take classes here, and you learn until you decide, well, yeah, I kind of like that, or hell no, I don't want anything to do with that. You know, that's your choice. But you have no choice now unless you pursue it. You have to want to do it. No teacher can make you do anything you don't want to do. But he's not responsible for you when you get out on your own and you can't find a job. You're going to say, I wish I'd have paid attention in class, you know? I respect the fact that you want to be helpful in the military. I love that. I spent 35 years in the military, and I went from E1 to 06. That's a pretty good gap. And in doing so, I learned a lot. You know, I tested, I had to try different things. I don't suggest jumping on hand grenades. There's nowhere on here where it says you have to be smart. But I love the guys. Let me, if I lit an M80 firecracker right over and threw it in the middle of you, would one of you go jump on it and try to get rid of it? No, it's gonna blow your damn hand off or blow your leg off or something. Well, a grenade will kill all of us in this room. One hand grenade. So do you see the magnitude of what we're dealing with in combat? Hopefully you never have to see combat. I hope we can fire all the politicians and handle the wars without war. You know, handle all the problems, I mean, without actually having war. There's a lot of people that want us to go to war because they make a lot of money on us. They sell weapons, they sell ammunition, they sell equipment. That's what motivates some of these people to want to vote for war. It's not because they have to go fight. No, they want your family to go fight. They want your kids to go fight. You know? It's all BS. And you don't know that. I'll say it this way, you don't know what you don't know, right? So the issues are very simple. You try to learn as much as you can about as much of the subject that you can accept, you know, because it's, you're gonna know sometimes real quick that that's not what I wanna do. Other times it might take you a long time. But I suggest that you get a skill, you learn skills first, so you can earn the money to go to college later if you want to. Don't leave here thinking you need to go to college. You don't. There's 60% of them that do have a great time partying until they have to pay the bills. And then they spend the rest of their life paying back the student loans. For what? McDonald's doesn't pay that well. Some of you guys are going to end up on the back, maybe this afternoon, because I hold you higher than the rest of the school. But some of the kids I'm going to talk to later are going to end up on the back of a trash truck. Why? That's all they're going to qualify to do. You want to be better than that, don't you? It's up to you. Life's about choices. that's my advice. I drove all the way up here from Kansas City to tell you, you can be better if you just open your mind, try different things, learn what's available to you, learn how to understand whether that's your mission, that's your job, that's your career field. You know, if you started right now as an electrician, you'd be a hell of a good electrician. You might even own your own company in a few years, see? So get around people that know more than you. I own 9 companies today, 9 companies. And I didn't start. I started right there in that same chair in a different school. So I'm gonna see if you've got any questions that I can answer for you. Whether they're military, whether it's war, whether it's business, you know, I'm here for you. I could stay back, in my hotel room right now. So if you don't have an interest in talking to me, I get it. Let's see a show of hands that want to talk to me. You want me to continue talking?
I got a question.
I don't care.
First of all, I want to say what your sergeant, your teacher was saying there. I was in the military 2 years before I understood what he was telling you guys. I mean, he's putting out good stuff there. And the other question I have.
Yes, sir, doctor.
Hand grenades are bad.
I'm sorry?
Hand grenades are bad. We got that covered. You jumped on a hand grenade and yet you're sitting there. I don't get it.
Well, that's good Lord. I don't know. I may believe in God. You don't even have to show me. You should all believe in something, some higher power than yourself. It doesn't have to be my God. It can be your God, Muslim God. Everybody's got somebody that they idolize and they look up to. The more people that this country was based on Christianity as well as other features, but Christianity kind of keeps us in check because we don't want to be caught doing something wrong. Is that right? We don't. Right now, if you can run that stop sign out there and you never get caught. What happens is you become complacent. You'll run it every day that you go through it. One of these days, the cop's going to bust you, and then you're going to understand that you did the wrong thing, right? There's always something that's going to correct us. Always somebody, something that's more important than we are that gives us guidance. Whether it's spiritual or whether it's old age, listening to the old guys. So my citation talks about being in a combat zone. My job was a paramedic. Okay, everybody knows what a paramedic is. You have them on the ambulances around here, right? Well, in the Marine Corps, Navy called them corpsmen, and the Marines called us docs. That's my name right there, the doc, D-O-C, because Marines can't spell corpsman. We got a Marine back in the back, so I'll pick on him. Because life can be humorous, or it can be sad. The pendulum swings. So what I did that day was there's a lot of things that led that up to. I was from November all the way to May. I got wounded 8 times. I could have been killed 7 of those 8 times. And I was unconscious a few of those times. I had other guys around me that were medical guys out of corpsmen. They treated me in the field, left me there. I was able to, because we did not move unless we had a helicopter to come in to take us out, or we walked everywhere we went. Well, when you're wounded, you don't walk real well. So a lot of times we would hunker down and stay right there for weeks, and that'd give people time to heal, So a lot of times our treatment amongst ourselves was treated right there. So I'm kind of setting the stage for the medical support of an enemy soldier, let me restate that, of our friendly soldiers, not the enemy. We care less about the enemy. So it's all about how we take care of ourselves in combat. So that day that I jumped on the hand grenade, I did not want to commit suicide. I had a wife and 2 kids that I wanted to go home to. I wasn't wanting to die. But my love for them, to save them, was my motivation. Because I'd been wounded several times before. What kept me going? My love for you, my love for the guys that I served with. I didn't want to let them down. I was the only medic, only corpsman, the only doc in the outfit at that time. So if somebody got wounded, they were going to die if I couldn't help them. You see that? So that was my motivation to keep pushing myself and do the right thing. So maybe he's tired. He can come up here and stand by you. Come up here and stand by me. So come up here and stand by me. And if the rest of you get tired, I understand. Hell, I didn't sleep good last night either, right? You've been drinking too much beer, were you? So the whole issue is taking care of your buddies. You cannot go through this life alone. You can't be a loner. By being a loner, you will not enjoy life. You won't have a quality life. If you found $1 on the street, who are you going to spend it with? So it's all about taking care of your buddies and looking after what they need. Find out their needs. What makes me feel good is helping you. If you needed help, I'm here to help you. If you need something I can't give you, I find somebody that can, because that's what we do, is help you. Okay? So, the one night, before I answer your question, I'm going to finish the doctor's story, was I jumped on that hand grenade to save other people's lives, knowing that I was probably going to die myself. But after a while of dealing with death, I've seen guys with their head blowed off, I've seen their arms missing, their legs missing, and I had to control the bleeding, the hemorrhage. And in doing all that, you just get in a mindset of, oh, screw it, you know? I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and I'm pressured in sometimes to do the thing that you necessarily don't wanna do, but it's doing the right thing for the right reason, you know? It's like turning your buddy in that's doing drugs. You know you shouldn't be doing that. And you're gonna hurt yourself mentally, emotionally, because you're turning him in. So when I jumped on that hand grenade, I had time to think. Not much time, but I had time to think. I pulled it under my chest and I rolled up on my patient that just lost both legs. The hand grenade came in 10, 15 minutes, half hour earlier, blew both of his legs off while he was laying there, because he was already a patient. I collected him in an area that we could call the helicopters in and evacuate him out, you know? And so somebody threw a hand grenade on top of him, and I laid him right down, took him off my shoulders and laid him right down on top of the hand grenade. Blew up, blew me back, blew him up in the air, he landed on me, he had no legs now. So he took all of the blast instead of the rest of us dying, you see. The guy behind me had lost half of his face. You could look down and see his tongue, he had no teeth, he had no, you could see his throat. So now I got another patient trying to keep him from bleeding out, you see. So that was my job. So when I got this in my hand, I looked to God and said, what do you want? He says, you're not too smart, boy. God told me that. He said, get rid of that thing. So I rolled up and I flung it out of the bomb crater, and it went off as it went out of the bomb crater. So for years, I had to stop and think why the story was written the way it was. Well, when you holler something scary like grenade, everybody hid their head. They wanted to save their head, save their body, but more importantly, their head. So that's what you do, you just bury your head. And they did not see me throw it away, you see. So my citation, and it's in all the books, it's in history books, it said that the grenade didn't go off, so I just got up and continued treating the Marines. What they're saying is I left it there, not knowing when it was going to go off. That's stupid. You're not going to leave an explosive device that can kill all of you. You're not going to leave it lay there, But that's Marines. They broke their Coriolas. I pick on the Marines all the time I can. They're poor. It's Uncle Sam's Misguided Children, USMC. Misguided children. But we have a love for each other that you don't have in the school. You might like each other, but your life doesn't depend on you or me or him or her. In combat it does. So we become a family. We become loving, caring, understanding each other's challenges type of a family. We don't get to pick your family. Do you get to pick your brother and sister? No, you don't. And the same way in the military. But you also have the ability to give them advice when you've got more experience than they do. Did I answer your question,
You
Doctor?
did, very
So
well.
I am here today because the good Lord decided to tell me, wake up, boy, do something. And I threw it away, or I'd be dead. I went out on a 3-day operation. There was 105 of us that went out. We set up on a mountaintop, but getting from point A to point B, we had to walk a trail. We made it ourselves. When we got up there, the enemy was watching us the whole time. We didn't know it, but obviously we were a big deal. They hated us and they were watching us. Once we settled down, then they attacked. When we came back 3 days later, I had put 85 of the bodies in a body bag. Out of the 105, 85 of them, 85 were killed. And so I cry a lot, those were my buddies. So, and I'm sad today. I stop and think about, and you see me crying up there, I'm tearing up right now, thinking about them giving up their lives because they wanted to come home and be with their families and live their lives, and they weren't allowed to. So I felt really mixed emotions because I love them. I'm sorry they're dead. And I'm here today remembering them because they saved my life. And if you're all about yourself, I feel sorry for you because you're a loner and you will never survive without other people's help. You won't. You just won't. The more people you have, the more friends you have, the more you got, more entertainment, the more help you got, the more education you get, the more benefits you get. You don't want to be a loner. That's your choice. Remember, life's about choices. So it's up to you. I'm only here to give you advice and share with you my experiences and what I learned so you don't have to make the same dumb mistakes that I made, right? That's all. So if you got a question for me, go ahead.
So, were you like an enlisted or an officer whenever you got presented with the...
I was enlisted. I think everybody ought to start out as enlisted because you'll make a better officer.
Amen to that.
If I was a Mustanger, that means I was an enlisted guy. I became an officer. The guys that I commanded, I have 6,300 guys in my battalion. 6,300 people looked up to me for 2 reasons. One, I outranked them. You will look up to me because I'm the boss. But more importantly, they looked up to me. But Saved by the Bell. They looked up to me because I was one of them. You see, I raised my standards. I did more than the rest of them. Some people like being a enlisted guy, right? Enlisted girl, whatever. That's life's about choices. I had to go to college. I had to go earn that commission. You see, choice. Yes. So I was an E5 enlisted guy when I earned the medal. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, welcome, first off.
Thank you.
I just don't want to be disrespectful. We do have a couple students that have to get up and leave for the bus here.
Understood. I'm going to be one of them. Well, I appreciate spending time with me, and I hope you learned something. Take care of other people, will you?
Congratulations for being in ROTC.
Yes.
That's great.
I applaud you. Good luck to you. Life's about whatever you can deal with,
All right, see you guys. See you.
You're a